Memphis takes on Clemson. Memphis hosts Clemson, notably an important home game. Memphis has not played a home game, Brian, since November 17th. They had three
A
straight
whole
Battle for
month.
Atlantis neutral games, then three straight road games. They actually emerged from their treacherous stretch 4-2 on the stretch, 2-1 in true road games in the last 2 weeks against Ken Palm top 100 opponents. And now they take on a Clemson Tigers team who, as PJ Hall would like everyone to be aware of, they are 9-0. There is a 9-0 next to their names, unlike Zach Edey and the Purdue Boilermakers. That's Brian Rao from Heat Check. I'm GregWaddell from Sleepers Media. Brian, how good is Clemson actually?
Clemson is very good. I think where they're slotted right now, top 15, top 20 in the country, depending on the polls you look at, accurately reflects the way they have played so far this season, right? I'm not going to go out and say that they are the best team in the country or among the nation's elite. I don't think they are that, but they have been incredibly solid, which is, I think, a testament to some of the transfers that Brad Brownell brought in. I'll point to Joe Girard in particular from Syracuse. He showed flashes at Syracuse and was certainly a good offensive player, but was asked to do too much as the number one option given his skill set and was terrible defensively. But he has brought so much to this Clemson offense from a spacing standpoint, from a shot creation standpoint. They've worked around his defensive limitations, but he's been a perfect pair with Chase Hunter in the backcourt. And you have somebody like Hall in the front court. It's, I think, just opened everything up and gotten the most out of this Clemson offense. Whether that is able to continue throughout the course of the season, we will see. This Memphis team is certainly more athletic, has some experience, but it's kind of similar to Alabama, a team that Clemson went on the road and beat too. So I think if Clemson goes on the road and beats Memphis in this game, we have to start taking Clemson even more seriously as potentially the favorite in the ACC, depending what you think about North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a little crazy to say that out loud, but I don't think it's inaccurate. I was doing a write up for Action Network the other day, not to name drop, but it was like pick a futures bet that you like, and I ended up zeroing in on the ACC because I'm kind of selling Duke and Carolina and Miami, and those are the betting favorites right now in this conference. And
Yeah.
I think Carolina is the best of the three, but I still don't think there's huge separation between them and the teams beneath them, which are Clemson and Virginia to me right now. And I ended up siding with Virginia, but I spent a long 20 minutes thinking about, should I really go all in on Clemson for this? Look, good basketball team, very good basketball team. Like to go into Tuscaloosa and pick up a win against Alabama, like that's obviously impressive. It matters to me. I was all over Clemson in that spot. Like I just kind of felt like Clemson
Mm-hmm.
was the more sound team. Maybe we play a little smarter in that game. The rest of their wins are all impressive, man. Like they're not exactly close games when you hammer Boise State by 17 points. And
Right.
Pitt at Pitt was a comfortable win. Like their resume is arguably the most impressive in the country right now. I have questions about how tough they are. And I know
Okay.
it sounds dumb to base it all around PJ Hall's quote, but I really did like a double and a triple take that this man's doing his press tour right now. God bless the field of 68 and Rob Doster, I think, who asked him the question, or Goodman who asked him the question. But like, good Lord, man. Like you kind of want a bite of Purdue and you want a bite of Zach Edey because the only great team you've beaten is Alabama, who I don't know if Alabama's that tough. Like they're kind of in. Aaron Estrada's like subtweeting things right now. They don't really have a front court. I don't know that I'd be talking like this if I'm PJ Hall. And I get it doesn't matter because they're in the ACC. They're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to make the NCAA tournament. But I don't think what they've done this year tells me this is an extremely tough team that should be talking all this shit that I think is kind of due for a humbling moment against a Memphis team that, oh, by the way, I think is tough as shit.
This is the moment where that would happen, right? Because this is Memphis is making the most out of this, and it's on every virtual, actual, proverbial bulletin board that Memphis can have, right? At the same time, I understand like Clemson, I think, is very battle tested. And PJ Hall is somebody who had one of the best careers in South Carolina high school basketball history. He won 2 or 3 state titles in South Carolina, goes to Clemson and has been one of the better players in the ACC. who is now stepping out nationally. So like the guy has been a winner for most of his life. And so I understand that impact. I also think that there's kind of another level that I don't know if like Clemson thinks it's played and played at, that I don't know if it is hit. Like their resume is impressive and their start has been impressive because they've, what I would say is hit a lot of doubles and triples. Like they've beaten a lot of good teams, but I don't know if there's any really great teams in there. And Memphis may still be a good team, not great team. But Memphis at its best has shown that they can hang with and beat great teams. They're going to be more physical. They're going to be more athletic. And how Clemson handles that, I think, will be key. Like if Clemson goes on the road and wins this game, I'm not going to have any questions about Clemson moving forward. And I may not change my opinion to Memphis either. It just is like, okay, this is Clemson passing another test, a different kind of test. That's good. But to talk this much, to go into a Memphis team that is going to really play into that and really get after you and get underneath you, it's going to test that. Where if Clemson really is about it,
yeah, it's a prove it opportunity for Clemson,
right?
For sure. And I don't think, maybe this is crazy, I feel like Memphis has already done the whole prove it thing. They're just going to feel comfortable to be back at home. I'm doing a lot of psychoanalysis right now, but like to go out and get back-to-back wins on the road against VCU and Texas A&M when there were questions about like, oh, you got smacked by Villanova and we don't know how good Villanova is. Then you lost immediately the next game a week later at Ole Miss, who I don't think Ole Miss is great. I know they've won a bunch of games. I honestly think there's some parallels between Ole Miss's resume and Clemson's resume, if we're being honest with it. But I just think Memphis is like, okay, we did the bounce back. We are a good basketball team. Now we're back home. Let's just go win this basketball game. Clemson is more of like, earn this one. And maybe they will because they're very good. I do think this, the nice thing I will say about Clemson, I think PJ Hall is a complete mismatch for anybody in the Memphis front court. And Memphis is very good defensively, that's for sure. They have a good 2-point defense. They block shots. It's not like they're bad. I still don't know who guards PJ Hall in this game, though. I think he's that good.
Right. Yeah. And this is a point where PJ Hall has to have a big game. If you're going to talk that much and go into a matchup where you have the advantage and you are probably going to be the difference in this game, because I think Memphis's backcourt should have the advantage or could at least neutralize Clemson's backcourt, right? He's got to be the difference because on paper he should be, and you've talked all this smack leading up to this game. Like this is the PJ Hall game, and I think this needs to be the PJ Hall game.
Yeah, through the course of Joe Girard's career too, like he has been known to have like a nuclear 3-week stretch and then put up a stinker. Kind of due for a stinker. He's been really, really good, as you said. Like he finally looks like he's in the perfect system with the perfect surrounding pieces to really be a winning basketball player. And I have no doubt that he can be that for this Clemson team. With that said, Memphis has a bunch of guards who are in their 5th year in college basketball that have size, that have speed, that you can throw different guys at Girard to harass him and make his life hell. If you can't tell where I'm going with this, I'm picking Memphis in this game. Memphis is 1-point favorites, according to Ken Palm, with this being a game at home against Clemson. I would expect that the betting markets are close to this. Maybe Memphis opens as like a 2 or a 3-point favorite just because they're at home. Either way, I think I'll be jumping all over the Tigers to win this one comfortably. What do you think? What's your prediction?
I think if this was at Clemson, my mindset would be a little bit different. But I'm going to go Memphis as well in a close game. Like I fully believe that Memphis is a very good team, and I fully believe that Clemson's a very good team. Like I think we will leave this game legitimately feeling pretty good about both, but Memphis making a bigger statement. I'm not expecting to come away from this being like, oh, Clemson's start was completely fraudulent and they're not going to do anything. I don't expect that. I don't expect Memphis to lay over and let Clemson do whatever they want to them either. Right. Like I'm expecting a high level competitive game, which should be a lot of fun. I'll give the edge to Memphis because they're playing at home, but it should be a very fun game.
Yeah, I think you get good PJ Hall. I hate to say it, I think you get bad Joe Girard, and I think that's the difference. And just one last statistical note from me, or profile note. I think transition could be the key. Clemson likes to play slow. Memphis likes to run, obviously. Clemson doesn't really offensive rebound. Like PJ Hall will pull some in just because he's PJ Hall, but in general, like that's not something they're going out and trying to do. So to me, this is a game Memphis can leak out. They can get people, if Clemson's missing shots, they can rebound, they can run, they can assert their will with pace. And ultimately, that could be the difference. All right. That's Brian Ralph from Heat Check CBB. I'm GregWaddell from Sleepers Media. We will have a recap for this game up after it is over this weekend. Make sure you subscribe to the Sleepers Media channel so that you don't miss any of our content this season.